Just when you thought it couldn't get much better this offseason, West Virginia has made a home run hire, and I'm not kidding. One of the best running back special teams coaches in the country headed to Morgantown.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mounaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, where we're talking Mountaineer football, and happy to be doing it. Thank you guys so much for joining in on this episode as we dive in to another one. And this one's going to be brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now with FanDuel, guys, if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com to place your NFL live bets all season long. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, Mountaineers, every single day. The number one sports podcasting network. Before anybody judges, I just want you to hear the list of accomplishments on this coach's resume. It's insane. This guy has been everywhere. So we're going to talk about it, obviously. We're going to talk about some of the state championship performances as well from yesterday. Amari Latimer did Amari Latimer things yesterday. The guys at Hutchinson Community College did Hutchinson Community College things yesterday. The feature is Brighton Morgantown for multiple reasons. We'll get into that, as well as some final thoughts, as always. So we always have our final thoughts, right? So we will do that too. Well, obviously, we're not going to forget about anything else that's upcoming as far as we know West Virginia basketball is going to play. I think it's in a couple, 3, 4 more days. So we'll start talking ball here again. Miles Sadler is absolutely crushing it right now. We got him to talk about too, but we start where we start. West Virginia will hire former SEC coach, former Big 12 coach as well. A guy that is truly one of the best recruiters in the sport, and Jay Boulware, from Texas, played on some Texas teams. Obviously, he had a heart arrhythmia that caused his career to end early. He is now 53 years old, so still pretty good age to be coaching anyways. Very open Christian. I've checked out a few different of his interviews. I like his energy. I like his style quite a bit. He's from Texas. He played at Nimitz High School there in Irving, Texas. His reputation as a coach is a strong developer of players and a top-notch recruiter, especially in the Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area along the I-35 corridor. He is a giving and energetic mentor who prioritizes relationships and service, and he's been really inspired by Mike Tomlin's philosophy of making others' days better, according to himself. Obviously, he overcame that devastation early in his career by that diagnosis of heart arrhythmia, which led him into coaching. He played as an offensive tackle for the Texas Longhorns from 91 to 95, so he was an elite player, and he helped the Longhorns win that Southwest Conference championship in 94 and 95. You know, he as a redshirt sophomore versus Mississippi State, there was a funny story I heard him tell where he said he froze against a 26-year-old defensive tackle named Jerome Brown, who was a military grad with a full beard. And he said he allowed a blindside sack on Peter Gardier, and his teammates still tease him about that to his day. So I thought that was kind of funny. But as his coaching career, he now has over 25 years of coaching experience. It's actually 30 years now. And this is a guy that has coached the elite of 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 the elite, guys. I'm not kidding here. Like, this guy has, when I give you the list of players that this guy's coached and made good, I think this is the opposite of Bicknell's resume, in my opinion. I'm just going to be honest. He's been a part of 16, 17 bowl-winning teams. He's been a coach on national championship rosters. I mean, name it, he's done it. Let's go through the list. He got his start early as a graduate assistant, as most do, tight ends coach for Texas. Then he went to Northern Illinois. Then he went to Arizona under John Makovich, from tight ends to running backs, special teams coordinator. He's also, by the way, he's also an elite special teams coordinator. I don't know I think he will be doing both at West Virginia, but I'm not sure. Maybe not. I haven't confirmed that. So then he went to Stanford in 2004 and was the running backs coach there. And then you look at, he went to Utah, coached under Kyle Whittingham early in his tenure. And they led the nation in punting and led the Mountain West in kickoff returns as a special teams coordinator there. In 2007 and 2008, he was the Iowa State special teams and running backs coach under Gene Chizik. He followed Gene Chizik to Auburn, which we know what happened there. Part of that 2010 undefeated season and 2011 BCS National Championship team. And you heard it right. Cadillac Williams, Ronnie Brown, absolutely one of the best running back tandems in college football history, right? Wisconsin running backs coach, guys, in 2013. I mean, I can't, I'm trying to go back in my memory and remember because I don't have it right here. In 2013, I bet you they had a really good running back. We just guarantee it. So we'll somebody maybe can look that up and put it in the comments, but we'll figure it out. I think I have a list of all the running backs here in a second. We'll get to where he did his best work, maybe at Oklahoma from 2013 to 2019. He was a special teams running backs coach and tight ends coach. So he had a long stint under Bob Stoops from 13 to 16, then under Lincoln Riley from 17 to 19. He coached the tight ends from 13 to 14 and the running backs from 15 to 19, part of 6 Big 12 championships. He knows what it looks like, guys. 4 college football playoff appearances, the 17 rose, the 18 orange, the 19 peach. He was a special teams coordinator that produced 10 touchdowns, a safety, 3-point attempt, point after returns, 2-point PAT returns, as well as the top 40 nationally in kickoff return defense. And also, obviously, their offense led the nation in rushing in 2019 with Samaje Perine, however you say his last name. He went back to Texas in 2020, where he returned to his alma mater under Tom Herman, and we know how that went. It went pretty well in 2020, but Tom Herman eventually got fired. He went to the Steelers in 21-22, and then recently at Kentucky, where they had some of the best special teams yet again under him. Jamarion Wilcox and other guys like that you look at. So interesting there. So if you look at if you break it down, some of his best jobs that he did, that 2013 to 2019 Oklahoma job, probably his most prominent overall job, high-powered offenses, led the nation, obviously, in several categories, tops in rushing several times, also dynamic special teams, and then a national championship in the Auburn team from 9 to 12, right? So he really elevated that special teams to top levels. So that's not even counting the fact that he's an elite recruiter. He's coached in 16 bowl games, including a BCS, a national championship, college football playoff semifinals, a Sugar Bowl, a Fiesta Bowl, a Peach Bowl. He's coached in the NFL. He's coached in an SEC championship, 6 Big 12 championships, and 7 SEC or Big 12 championships total. So, just an elite resume. I mean, you can't really get much better resume. He has mentored an insane amount of all-conference, all-American, and NFL players. It's a huge list. Samaje Perine, all-time leading rusher in Oklahoma history. Joe Mixon, just an insane year he had. He's now with the Bengals. We know how good what Joe Mixon was. Kennedy Brooks, remember how annoying he was to play against? Ramondre Stevenson, remember him at Oklahoma? What about Trey Sermon at Oklahoma? What about Rodney Anderson at Oklahoma? All these give me nightmares to think about some of these guys. Ray Davis was an All-American at Kentucky. He coached him. Mike Bell, 3,163 yards in Arizona. Alexander Robinson, J.J. Bass at Iowa State were both all-conference players. Jamarion Wilcox had an incredible year last year as a freshman, led Kentucky in multiple categories, several 100-yard games. Jason Patterson, Najee Harris, and Benny Snell Jr. at Pittsburgh. And then to beat it all, Michael Turner at Northern Illinois. I mean, come on. One of the best running backs of that era was Michael Turner. If you look at the tight ends he's coached, let's see. I don't know that guy's name very well. Philip Lutzkirchen says he was an all-SEC tight end, an Auburn tight end with 14 touchdowns. Blake Bell, wow, that's interesting because they converted him from a quarterback to a tight end there at Oklahoma. Derek Lewis, Texas, and then Pat Fitzgerald, who was an All-American at Texas as well. He's had a myriad of special teams, kick, punt returners, snappers that have been All-Americans. So I could go through the list, but we're not going to know most of them. Trying to see if there's any we might know. I don't see any that I know by. Trey Mason. Trey Mason's on there. Leonard Johnson's on there. I'm sure there are others that other people would know. Oh, Austin Seifert, yeah. Okay. Interesting. Proven experience, man. This is a guy that's developed several running backs, obviously, as well as special teams. He's got a resume full of championships, NFL record-setting units, man. I think it's definitely it's a very good hire. It's a very good hire. Is it Juwan Sider? No, I don't know if it's that big of a hire. It's not underwhelming though. I think that's important to note. It could have been an underwhelming hire. It's not an underwhelming hire. I like the hire. I'm definitely not going to bash it. I don't know what the contract's going to look like or anything like that. And I don't know what kind of players, because, UK should have guys that are all in the portal right now that can transfer for 30 days. Their window is now. So now they may not go until January, but since their coach has been fired, I think they should have the ability to transfer anytime. So is that freshman running back somebody you look at West Virginia? That'll be the next part of the job that I do, is I'll go and look at all the different UK players and see if anybody that, connects with him that maybe he was close to. He was there for 2 years. So there should be quite a few players that at least you'll have the ability to contact because of him. So, a good hire. Like I said, I think this is one that, I don't know. It kind of. I think you can look at it a couple ways. Either you didn't hire who you wanted to hire, and this is settling for somebody that's still really good, or this guy was one of the top couple guys on your list, and you got him. I don't know which one it is. Based off the resume, I mean, it's pretty impressive. Yeah, to coach, to get a national championship level coach, and also a guy that coached at Oklahoma and was kept at Oklahoma for 5-6 years. That says a lot to me. And Bob Stoops kept him. Lincoln Riley kept him on as his running backs coach. To me, that says a lot. And that was only 5-6 years ago. And he's been at Kentucky and the Steelers since then. So it's not like his fallen off necessarily. So, I think there's a lot to like there. He can recruit really well in Texas. And West Virginia has been recruiting the absolute crap out of Texas. We just lost Jet Walker, but we're recruiting that area now because recruiting is now national, and especially at West Virginia, you just have to recruit outside your own area. So I consider this to be a good one, guys. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments. Been everywhere is not good, This is over the course of 30 years. Go find me a coach that's been the same place for 30 years. I promise you can't. Look at Rich Rodriguez. You know what I mean? So I think you're looking at that a little bit too narrowly. We're talking about he's stayed most places for several years. He was in Northern Illinois for 3 years. He was at Arizona for 3 years. He was at Stanford for 1, but I mean, you're moving up, in your career for a lot of this stuff. I mean, he was at Utah for 1 year when they were group of 5 at the time. Then you move up to Iowa State, who would have been Power 4, even though it's not great. And then you go from Iowa State to Auburn. Bam, you're at Auburn, winning national championships. And you're there for 4 years. So then you go from that to 6 years at Oklahoma. So I don't see him as just bouncing around. It's not Jack Bicknell. It's not Jack Bicknell. Jack Bicknell, go look at Jack Bicknell's last 5 jobs. Last 5 jobs have all been 1-year jobs. It's not really the same for me. We do have some news on Jack Bicknell. I wanted to wait, but we'll talk about it after the break. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends. Oh, look, we got kind of a new one here today. We're talking about Rocket Money. I guess it is that time of year. And with Rocket Money, guys, if you ever feel like your money just disappears each month, it happens fast. A few subscriptions here, impulse buy there. Suddenly the numbers in your bank account are not matching the numbers in your head. Rocket Money helps you get the clarity you need where you can track every dollar and stay in control of your finances. Because managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you so you can save more and stress less. Rocket Money finds subscriptions you forgot you were paying for and helps you clean them up quickly. Seeing all your spending on one dashboard makes it easier to understand where your money is going. And look, I like how Rocket Money automatically builds budgets based on past spending. Keeps you on track without even overthinking it, which is a good thing too. Take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/locked-on today. That's rocketmoney.com/locked-on. We're rocketmoney.com/locked-on. All right, y'all, we're back. Going to do probably a larger video about this, but there's a report out there. I went and reached out to a friend as well. I'm still waiting on that response. Hold on, I got a message here. Give me 1 second here. This is about Bicknell. Okay. All right, so he believes he's going to get an interview. So, Jack Bicknell is on the Rutgers hot board right now for Rutgers offensive line coach. I didn't set it up because I didn't think I would be talking about this right now, but I will do. I'll at least put this in there really quick. Hold on, let me show you guys this. This is, and for those of you listening, I'll just read it to you. And this doesn't mean he's going to get hired, by the way. What this means is it's known outside West Virginia University that he's out, basically, in my opinion. Why would he be on their hot board? I mean, sure, could they try to poach him away? But, so it says, Jack Bicknell, West Virginia offensive line. Why Rutgers? He's a former Boston College alumni and North Plainfield, New Jersey native. He also has a ton of coaching experience working at several stops, both Power 4 college football, also in the NFL, not to mention his offensive line units have a clear track record of translating coaching into on-field success. Louisville, his offensive line ranked number 22 in the country, fewest sacks, tackles for loss allowed. A few years before that, Ole Miss, he once again helped lead a high-powered offense, which led the SEC in passing yards per game in back-to-back seasons. But what they don't tell you is he's never had – we've gone over it before, right? I mean, his record there, like we're looking at Boulware here, and he's been on national championship teams, bowl, Peach Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, just everything you could possibly think of. And with Bicknell, it's like, I mean, he's got literally 2 seasons on his resume where he's won more than 8 games, like out of 30. The other ones are all below 500 and 2-win years, and pretty rough. And I mean, obviously there's a lot that goes into winning, and I'm not saying it's all on him, but over the course of a long time, that's kind of weird to me. I don't know if anybody agrees or disagrees with me on that. I've always found that to be really weird. If you're not a part of winning, it's just like, it's just like Ross Hodge says, if you're not a part of winning, I don't want you, like there's something about the mindset of it. It's just my opinion, like you can get your room to be successful, but is the entire team winning? It's like this article here, right, that I have. This dude sucked. Former Steelers offensive line talks utter turmoil. Former coach Jack Bicknell Jr. brought to Pittsburgh, where he goes on to talk about the politics that Bicknell played, the toxicity that there was in that locker room around it. And I've already spoken to 2 guys who both say that that's what happened this year. There were some politics. If you weren't buddy with him, if you're just one of those people that stay to yourself, then maybe you're not going to be favored to play, and everything's not equal. So, if a coach can't set aside favoritism, and I get it, even Neil Brown had his favorites. We saw that. He took up for everybody. Neil did. But did he love Garrett? Did he love Nico, especially in Daggy? Yeah, he did. To his own detriment, and also his assistant coaches. So when guys do that, they're usually mediocre, because it's like Richrod says, only thing I care about is, does it equate to winning? If it doesn't, we remove it. And hopefully that Richrod's doing that, and I believe he is. I don't think every coach is able to do that. I think it's something that not a lot of people talk about. But can I set aside how I feel about a player? I might love this kid like a son. Like I recruited him when nobody thought he was anything, and we've developed him, and he's turned into a Power 4 level player. But is he better than that guy? Maybe this guy's better for this offense, but you're going to force your guy in there because like those kind of things happen. I'm not saying, I have no idea if Bicknell did that. I'm just using it as an example, for why he's probably on the Rutgers hot board, and maybe he would work better in a Rutgers type, more NFL type setting with Schiano, where I don't know, like he's clearly had some success. Bicknell, he wouldn't be in the situation he's in if he didn't have some. I just can't get past the decisions last year. That's the thing. Like, life is about decisions. My life has been about decisions. Everybody's life is about decisions, right? What decisions do you make? And the decision to play Kimo Mounaineer and Tykees Crawford specifically together, if they would have just broke them apart and put them at different places, even maybe, I would at least say, well, he's trying to mix it around. But, in spite of the lack of success, for 5 straight games, you lost 5 straight games with those 2 starting in the same 2 places. Mounaineer gets hurt. You go out and you win against Houston with the line shuffled up. You've got Young Bear on the right guard. You've got the other kid that came up from Austin P on the left guard. And you go for 250 yards and beat Houston. And then I thought, okay, we've kind of struck a change here. Nope. Next week, I don't know, was it Colorado or whoever it was the very next week? Nope. It's Mounaineer and Tykees Crawford starting again together on the right side of the offensive line again. I'll never get over that. To me, that's forcing it. You're trying to force it. I don't know what it is you had with those guys, but you did. You wanted those 5 starters to be good. They weren't good. And in fact, we're the worst in school history. So I can't get past it. Richrod probably won't get past it either, which is why he'll be looking for a job. I've said it a million times at this point. Not everybody agrees either. Like I've had people in the comments coming at me over the last couple of days, and I understand everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Just because you disagree with me, I might argue back or debate, but like I'm not mad at anybody. So if you disagree with me, I might disagree back, but it doesn't mean I don't want you here or anything like that. Like I do. Like I want everybody here. I want all opinions here. As long as it can be in a debate type setting. The thing is people have such a hard time debating these days without getting their feelings hurt. And then I'm one of those kind of people. I capitalize words when I'm typing to emphasize. And I think some people think that like I'm being extra, but I don't know what else to do about it. Going to break. We'll talk about Amari Latimer and those guys from JUCO in a second. They all had some pretty big performances yesterday en route to national and state championships. And we wouldn't be anywhere without talking about our friends at Wayfair College today. And why is that? Well, the holidays show up faster than we expect. And if you're still putting together gifts, last minute decor, or getting your home ready for guests, Wayfair has you covered. Whether you need a quick room refresh, new bedding, or those final seasonal touches, Wayfair makes it easy to get what you need fast. Wayfair truly is your one-stop shop for everything home. Decor, furniture, kitchen essentials, and gifts for every style and every budget, all delivered quickly and easily. Here's the thing, guys. Their selection is huge. Bedding, decor, kitchen gear, kids' room updates, if you want that. I was able to find basically everything in one place, and it's easy because you can shop by style. If you helps pick the pieces you actually like to fit your home instead of guessing, which is never any fun. No massive delivery fees or stress. It's the best way to get your home holiday season ready without running around to different stores. Get your last minute hosting essentials, get your gifts for all your loved ones, and get your decor to celebrate the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com at Wayfair. Every style, every home. Alrighty, we're back, guys, in segment 3. I didn't crack it doing segment 2, Mr. John. I'm sorry. I know I've probably disappointed you. We've had a few people going to portal as well. We'll probably talk about that on another show. Nothing major. Clay Ash, Ethan Head, I think, went in. A couple other people maybe that I haven't talked about in a few days, but nobody of consequence quite yet. I wish Clay Ash the best. I think he's somebody that, if he had a really good offensive line, I could see Clay Ash really being pretty good. But is he Amari Latimer? No, unfortunately not, right? Amari Latimer is extremely gifted, right? We're so lucky to have him. And he did it again in this one. What a performance in the state championship game with Amari Latimer. Really proud of him. 27-7 victory over Jefferson. His overall impact was really good, big on the game. He had 104 yards, I think it was, and a couple touchdowns in this game. He had a big catch that was called back. He had a big return in this game, and was just once again the best player on the field, as always. Almost, and he also won the Georgia Offensive Player of the Year award per Rivals, I think it was. So, the state of Georgia's best player on offense is Amari Latimer. The best player in the state of Georgia on offense coming to West Virginia. We're very lucky. He's grown into, sorry, that's the wrong one. He's grown into my favorite player that West Virginia's kind of had in a while, man. I really love the kid as far as obviously he came on my show. So I'm always going to be, I've discovered over the years, the guys that come on the show, I end up being more partial towards, and that's just human nature. But like, it's objectively true that his talents are elite. And that's the thing I like. He had 43 touchdowns, 44 touchdowns on the year. It's insane. Over 2,000 yards or whatever it was. Just an incredible year and so tough to bring down. I'm really excited for his future. I think he's a guy that's going to help us from day one. And I think he's a guy that's going to be starting unless we bring in some stud portal back that I don't know about, which could happen. There are guys out there that I think obviously Amari would have to sit for at least half the year behind. And then there are a couple guys that Amari would have to split time with too if they're that good. But you're going to have to be pretty damn good to keep Amari Latimer off the field. And I don't know if there's anybody out there that we could get that's that good. I mean, I think the best – I've tried to come up with a few comparisons for Amari Latimer as far as playing style. Frank Gore really works well. Frank Gore really works well. Not Miami Frank Gore. I don't know if he's quite that hop in fast. But if you want to talk about like San Francisco 49ers Frank Gore, that was really, really good, Pro Bowl player, where he had blown his knee out a couple times, but was still really good, had enough speed to pull away from people. That's what Amari reminds me of. Frank Gore, man, like that kind of guy that just bulldozes guys. I love that comparison for him. And Amari's sneaky fast too. Like I asked him on the show, I said, "Are you 4.4?" Because sometimes I think you're 4.4, but he didn't answer. So obviously big time for him. I'm excited, obviously, about him to come in. Hutchinson Community College, they played in a championship game as well against Iowa Western, which is an interesting game as well. So Darius Wiley played in that game. Obviously they had the top defense in the country. They let Kona score 9 points per game over the year and a plus 22 turnover margin, which is just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. He had 47 tackles on the year, 24 solo. He had a 7.5 sacks, I think it was, a forced fumble, a pass breakup, and multiple block kicks with a 6.7 frame. He earned Defensive Player of the Week at least one time that I know of. I don't know why it's not giving me stats for the game. It's giving me season stats. I should have been more specific. I'll just go to the box score of the game. Let's see. Hutchinson Community College versus Iowa Western score. Okay. All right. So Iowa Western did win the game, 28-10. So, they didn't quite win, which sucks. But at the end of the day, man, we're proud of our guys. So Darius Wiley and DJ Haster had 8 tackles each. Wiley also had 2.5 tackles for loss and a sack in the game. Looks like Henson had a few tackles in the game. I'm not saying anything about the corners, Damon Allen and company, and Rashawn Reynolds, but they're both big 6'3" defensive backs that I think will be really good at West Virginia. And I think they're both going to be in conversation to potentially come in and start, in the rotation, not start. I think West Virginia will have transfer starters at corner again this year. That's just my belief. I think they're going to use JUCO for the D-line specifically, and we've seen some of that. But I think corner, and we're going to have JUCO, or we're going to have transfers everywhere probably in every position room for the most part. But I'm thinking at corner specifically, we're going to have that, and safety possibly. We'll just keep an eye on it. I mean, I don't know. It's like trying to play pin the tail on the donkey to try to figure out what they're going to do. But big celebration for Amari and company. His dad and I have been in correspondence every single day. Ever since he was on the show, his dad and I have talked quite a few times now, and I've really grown to like them as a family, and I can't say enough about them. I think they're awesome. They really are. They're just the perfect kind of family, football family. They're so tight knit. All that stuff is so important in this day and age where kids just aren't getting that. So to see Amari have that kind of support is awesome. His brother's in the portal. They want to play together, guys. Trust me. West Virginia's got to. Here's the thing: when it comes to Jameer, West Virginia's got to bring him in. They've only reserved like 15 spots, right? So are they going for? I personally think Jameer would be an excellent ad, right? I mean, he's got proven production. He had, especially in Zach Alley's system, it was elite. I don't see how there's any way they don't bring him in if he's willing to, unless they've just got more money than I thought, and they're going for like, no, we're going to bring the best of the best at every position in. I don't know. But it sounds like to me, like, I'm hearing some numbers on certain things this year. There are quarterbacks that are getting numbers that I just don't get it. I don't. Like, trying to think of one that I heard. What was his name? I think it might have been Bo Perbula. People are speculating that he might get a $3 million offer coming off the year he had at Missouri. First of all, let me just say this. I think Bo Perbula would be perfect for West Virginia's offense. He just went in the portal from Missouri today. He was 30 for 39 against Kansas. He was 23 at 27 against, like, he had really big games through the air, but against top 15 teams, he struggled bad. Alabama killed him. Auburn killed him, which not a top 15 team, but they got a really great defensive players. Oklahoma killed him. So he didn't pass the ball well against those teams, and they just didn't run him against them either. But I think, Perbula is the kind of he's basically a Garrett Green clone to me, except he's a little taller. Like he's got that same kind of speed, and he's got the same similar kind of arm too. So you could kind of go figure out. You could actually go back and see maybe what would Garrett Green have looked like in Richrod's system if you go get a Perbula. But at $3 million, there's no way. He had 11 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. I mean, it's not like he went out and made himself money last year. I just happen to think that was his first year as a starter, and he had big performances. I mean, you look at some of the games he had against, especially Big 12 school in Kansas. Yeah, let's see. Let me just look up Bo Perbula really quick. All right, so he had basically 2,000 yards. He was 60 yards off from 2,000 yards passing, 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, a 67 QBR. Nothing to write home about at all, right? Rushing was good. It was, let's see where I just had it up. There it is. He had some pretty decent games. He had, well, where'd it go? It's so annoying sometimes. Let's see. Game logs. There we go. All right. So obviously against Central Arkansas, it was a ridiculous. I mean, 23 of 28, 283, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 65 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. So like an elite game. But I mean, to me, like, I watched every snap of this game versus Kansas. Missouri beat Kansas 42-31. He was 30 for 39 against Kansas, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked 4 times, and he only had 6 yards rushing in that game. And then you go against Louisiana. He was 15 of 22 for 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 5 rushing yards in that game. But I'll get to my point in a minute about this. South Carolina, 16 of 27 for 171, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but he had almost 100 yards rushing in that game versus South Carolina SEC defense. He was 26 of 29 versus UMass. So he's clearly capable of putting together performances. Now against Alabama, yeah, it was pretty rough. It was 16 of 28, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mean, he did throw 2 touchdowns against them. And he also had 61 rushing yards against Alabama and a touchdown. So he did have 3 touchdowns against Alabama. It was almost all their points. Auburn, bad game. 23 of 40, 250 yards, which is not terrible, but 2 interceptions again. Back-to-back games with 2 picks. 3 sacks in that game, by the way. And he had 28 yards on 16 carries. Gosh. So Auburn's defense did a number on him. And then Vanderbilt and Oklahoma just sealed the deal. Back-to-back bad games there, too. 9 of 14 for 68 yards against Vanderbilt, which is terrible. No picks. And then against Oklahoma, 20 of 36, 231 for 2 picks in that one. And then they beat Arkansas, but he didn't play much. So, he had a rough stretch the last 3 games specifically because he didn't really play against Arkansas. I don't know if he got hurt or what. No, wait. He only threw the ball 7 times against Arkansas, but they changed their offense. He ran the ball 16 times for 78 yards and a touchdown in that game. That's crazy. But anyways, they were trying to make him this pure passer. Like, I watched it against Kansas. Like, they were running crazy concepts for him as a passer. And he looked really good at times. But he's a runner, man. Like, he's a Garrett Green type player. It's exactly what he is. He's very similar to Garrett Green in everything. In speed, arm talent. Like, it's all very similar. So to think he was going to pass it well against SEC competition was crazy. But I mean, if you're in a running offense and you've got to make the occasional throw, I think Pabula is a guy that maybe could do some damage for us. If you get me a Jack Bicknell t-shirt for Christmas, Jared, I'm going to go nuts. Oh, goodness. All right, guys. I got to run. We're way over. I didn't realize I went this long. We will talk to y'all later on Locked On West Virginia. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Share the video out. And we'll see you guys now in the next one right here on Locked On West Virginia. See you later, guys.